Hello and welcome to this new edition of Off the Cuff OTC. And what is new about this? We bring OTC to Bangalore. So breaking out of our Delhi-Bombay, Bombay-Delhi shuttle, we are now in Bangalore and we intend to come here often. And who better to have in Bangalore as our first guest in this city but Prakash Javadekar, one of our most knowledgeable and open-minded ministers. Prakash ji, thank you very much for agreeing to come to Bangalore. I know that you have other things to do, but as I explained to you, this is the knowledge capital of India. And you are now charged with bringing knowledge to millions and millions of these young Indians who are now coming out with degrees that don't matter so much. And I thought also that to take this conversation forward, you and I can talk all the time. We are Latins, Dilliwalas. We should have somebody who knows a lot more about knowledge and education than definitely me, Dr. Devi Shetty, who is the calmest doctor in the world. God forbid something happens to the hearts of any one of us, we'll be blessed if we are in his care. So, Dr. Shetty, thank you very much for joining us. You are leading light of Bangalore. Would you like to start this conversation?
Yes, it's my privilege, sir.
Yeah, please.
Sir, I would like to ask you one of the very fundamental questions about education, which is haunting virtually every child and a parent of this country, is about the media of education. Why political class is against English as a medium of education. I'll give you two extreme examples, sir. One example, last 10 years, we have been struggling to get children from West Bengal, rural West Bengal, to join medical colleges. In spite of our best efforts, it's very difficult to coach them and train them to compete with city children who are coming from English medium school. On the other end, sir, we got few thousand, as an organization, sir, we have over 1,000 security guards, young boys and girls working with us. If only they knew English, we could have put them up in the front office of the hospital. Sir, why are we depriving the young people from their fundamental desire to learn English?
I'll actually, Dr. Shetty, I'll like to answer that question, but let me first, 2-3 minutes, I'll open up with how I look to the whole education sector. Because I believe that as people are talking about demographic dividend, that dividend can happen only if we give quality education. If we will right skilling. If we don't do that, it will be demographic disaster. See, Britishers never wanted that every Indian should get education. They started education because they wanted bureaucrats to be coming out of it. Yesterday I was in Banaras, Hindu University. Malviya started, Tilak started, Gopal Krishna Gokhale started, Mahatma Phule Maharshi Karve started in each state. 100 years ago, people started this national education program as a program of freedom fight. Along with the freedom fight, they started that. So, with that effort, and after independence last 70 years, now KG to PG, we have 270 million students. It's a record, just next to China. Last 5 years, expansion has happened with RTE implementation more vigorously, so expansion we have achieved. Now is the issue of quality. And last 1 minute I'll take. I believe that India was once upon a time 1/3 of the world trade. 1/3 of the world trade. Now today we are, after so much progress, we are not even 1% of the world trade. And after all, trade gives you surpluses. Trade makes you rich. And that is where you are lacking now, because you are not researching, you are not innovating. Why we were at the front? Because we had Nalandas, Takshashilas, and we had Vikramshilas, the best of the universities. If there would have been a QS ranking or Times ranking that time, we would have been the top universities in India. The whole world, top of the talent, students used to come to India. And therefore, my basic theory is, if nation has best universities, best centers of excellence in learning, the nation get prosperous, sustainable basis. Because then you innovate. And therefore, that's my basic premises and where I want to take with help of everybody. Because every house is touched by education. So every Indian has some or the other opinion about education. And there are good experts. And I don't discriminate anybody. Good ideas are good ideas. I want those ideas. And therefore, I invite all of you to join this national mission of improving the quality of education. That's my first appeal. Thank you. Now I am coming to his answer. Europe doesn't speak English. Europe speaks its own languages and all higher education is in their languages. So there has to be a choice. And so choice we have, but we respect all languages, we promote all languages.
So there should be a choice. But I think his point would be that, that India has many languages. So this particularly disadvantages those states or those ethnicities or those linguistic groups who don't have Hindi as their mother tongue.
No, but see, they have their own mother tongues. All languages, Indian languages are really beautiful. I listen Tamil, I listen Malayalam, I see all language movies, I enjoy them. And I am traveling for the country last 40 years in my political career. I understand what he's speaking. I can't speak because if I start speaking Kannada, you will not understand it. That's the problem. Yes.
Mohandas, you want to come in?
I agree with the minister about the medium of instruction. The only challenge we have is we don't have content in Kannada, we don't have content in Marathi, we don't have content in Hindi.
So this is the challenge for all those who are here.
Yeah, sir. If you don't have, in France, 75% of publications are translations. If you go to China, the world's knowledge has been translated into Chinese, they teach in Chinese, they learn English as a language. Our tragedy is, none of the state governments, neither MHRD, translated the world's knowledge into the local language, so you can study in the local language and not lose content.
Yeah.
It's a content problem, but it's become something else in India. That must be done.
I entirely agree. You have given me my first actionable point and I'll work on it. Work on it.
Yeah. Someone else? Shobhit?
Mr. Minister, I have one point that you compared with the Hebrew in Israel and Europe. They are in their own country, and I live in Europe. There is no European language, there is no Europe. Each country has their own language, own mother tongue, everything different, foods are different. They can say that, but in India, we call it India, all aligned together. Then, is it not the English is a very important language for all of us?
It is. Who said? I love all languages, that's what I said. I will ensure that all languages get due place and it develop. And in democratic society, it is left, the choice is left to the students, the parents and everybody. But I can't make English a national language. No way.
No, I don't think that was the idea. You didn't want English the national language. Yes. But where do you see challenges in your ministry? Is it on primary education, higher education, or it is vocational education?
Challenges are on all fronts. In primary education, not ASER, Pratham survey, but even our own national HRD survey shows that the 5th or 6th or 8th standard students have very little ability, mathematical ability, reading or writing ability, comprehension ability. If that's the case, that's a serious thing. If expansion to an extent is important, but quality also is important. So, there was talk on, there was Interstate Council last 2 months ago, in the month of July, by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. After 10 years, this Interstate Council met, all chief ministers came. And many chief ministers said this no detention policy is hurting us. Everybody has his opinion. So, we must give states freedom.
Are you going to change it? No detention policy?
That is what I felt, that it should be left to the states. But we need more discussion on that. See, I believe in continuous evaluation. Freedom of students from the regular exam load and that kind of tension, but still parents are creating tremendous pressure on students. And unnecessarily, we are in that kind of competition world. I want to give more and more options, more choice-based credit systems, more openly. Why can't engineer learn music?
But you see, we have a minimalistic view of education also. So our Kids who pass class 5, 7, 8, they can't even do class 3 or 4 simple arithmetic sums. And survey after survey shows that there is no improvement in that area.
No, but that is where we want to bring in. We want, and the key is teachers. See, after all, student learns at 3 places. One is family, one is society, and third is school. And therefore, we have to improve the whole mahal of all the 3 segments, where parents also need to be taught how to teach, what to teach. See, humanities should not be a casualty. My problem is, now I go and do dialogue with students. I ask, what you want to be? He says engineer, other says doctor. I ask, who wants to be teacher? 600 students, only one hand is raised. He wants to be teacher. I said, if there is no teacher, then all institutions will collapse. We need good teachers. I did one intervention. That intervention was very simple. As a MLC, I built Abhyasikas, study centers in slum areas. And only mat, fan, lights. 6 to 10 in the evening, the slum children can come and study on their own, no tutor. But only one graduate student will sit there for help. If somebody has any difficulty, he'll ask him. And with that small intervention, marks of every student went up by 20 to 25%. That's a challenge. Things happen. I'm a believer, positive thinker. So I believe that things can happen. So teacher education is very important, and we have to lay emphasis on that.
Dr. Shetty is a wonderful surgeon, but he's also a teacher because he's training and teaching a lot of young doctors.
Every good person has to be a teacher. If I would not have been politics, I would be teaching.
So using technology for education. First regulation we have is that companies cannot impart education. There are large number of startups who have transformed every aspect of our life. Why can't we allow those young startups to get into education? Why do you need students to go to the school and learn? Let them come up with their own way of training students. At the end of the year, you conduct all the tests to assess how was the training, outcome was the training was.
I'm absolutely, I 100% agree with you. And therefore, I just mentioned in my first opening remarks, alternative schooling, various methodologies, because we must promote. But in villages, you must also have a school, proper school. There are 1 lakh schools with 1 teacher only. I want to make it double. We are giving money, states have to recruit. I am following it with the state. I am very sure you will see changes happening year on year.
This gentleman has seen more money paid to education than anybody else.
Yes.
So the 1986 education policy has not given its utility. And now we had a TRS committee and a lot of papers and things are happening. Now, is there a plan as to how you go about engaging with the public at large to be able to come out with a new policy?
I'll tell you.
And I think you talked about the right thing in terms of a demographic dividend. And clearly, I think what Dr. Devi Shetty is also saying, while of course you should encourage a lot of local languages, etc., etc., but you need to dovetail in terms of what the economy should be looking like and the education. There has to be dovetailing, otherwise you can't find prosperity, you can't find engagement of people. And like you said, teacher is the biggest transformation that you're looking for in terms of scaling up teacher, number of people that can come out and training them. Institution after institution, you should form to get more and more teachers because they are going to change the whole transformation here. In that context, how are you seeing next 3, 5, 10 years in terms of the quality of teachers and the number of teachers who can only make this change happen?
I believe that education, teachers' education, along with quality improvement, there is a program. We will come out with National Education Policy draft sooner. But I think the basic 5 pillars of any education policy for a country like India are accessibility, equity, quality, affordability, and accountability. And on these 5 principles, we want to build our new education policy.
Why do you think has HRD ministry always been so controversial? And has that caused damage to India?
I think education is, as I said, 270 million students teaching. So it is everybody's subject and everybody's interest also. So everybody has a view. So therefore more expectations. So there will be controversies, and newspapers also But I'll tell you, no. On the very first day, I called all 40 beat reporters. In Delhi, there is a good system. There are specialist reporters for each ministry. And I called them together on a tea, and I said, you are more experienced in this ministry than me. Because somebody is covering for 5 years, somebody 10 years, 15 years. So please tell me. And then instead of they asking me questions, I asked them questions. And then everybody gave me so many good suggestions, 1.5 hours. They were speaking, I was listening and noting. And that's how I
think that's a good trick. You just make journalists feel important and then your job is done. Nobody does it. Dr. Shetty, you...
Sir, I have a very
No, on first issue, I didn't agree with you, but that doesn't mean that I will not agree with you on any point. I agree with you.
Yeah. No, we get better copy if you don't agree.
Yeah.
This is about the state universities.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, today, state universities are reduced to the position of examination conducting bodies.
Agreed.
They have absolutely no power to create something new, something different, because they're all controlled by the central bodies. Even though education is supposed to be partly a state subject, it is not really reflecting in its outcome. Why can't we liberate the state universities to come up with the innovative courses, looking at the industry, what the requirement of the industry is?
On this, I agree 120% with you. Because I believe, and that's way of giving more freedom and autonomy to the good institutes, which it will be on competitive basis, on a challenge mode. But those who are performing colleges, they must become autonomous. They will have freedom of syllabus, examination, teaching methodology, and coursework and everything. See, I want more and more institutes to float their own degrees on their own strength. And that is how things happen world over. And we will do that. We have to allow a system, a flexible system, where if you become good, you will have more autonomy. If you don't perform, you will have more regulation. I think we are going on that direction, and we will have a better system in days to come.
So this new 20 world-class universities scheme.
Yes.
Where is that? Now, we keep hearing that AG has said that this will not pass the test of Supreme Court.
No. We will ensure that, see, in environment, I have now got an experience. Because...
So let me ask you, let me interrupt you. Which was the messier ministry to inherit, environment or HRD?
No, I'm not into a blame game. But unfortunately, all governance collapsed. And particularly after 1980s, what we are seeing is deterioration of quality, deterioration of governance, and unfortunately institutionalized corruption that has put a rot in the system. And therefore, we want to make it clear. And but we'll do one by one. So every ministry challenge, and we do work with passion. If there is no passion, then why you should work?
So you think this will happen, this 20 world-class universities?
Yes, 20 world-class universities will happen, and all other universities also will get more autonomy. In a challenge mode, those who are performing better will not require to come again and again to the ministry. They can call me for tea, they can call me for some ceremony if they want, but I'll be happy that if they don't come to me, but they should deliver good education.
But you are not worried about this legal block?
No, legal, I'll find out a way. That I have some tricks, I'll not tell you now.
Yes. I think, gentlemen, if you would introduce yourself and also tell us what you do.
So my name is Vaidyanathan, entrepreneur. I was chairman of 2 of the ITIs, Industrial Training Institutes. So my question is regarding vocational training aspects. One of the points we noted was that in the rural India, or even tier 2, tier 3 cities, the aspiration is to become a graduate. They do not attach, the students and the parents do not attach dignity to labor. Like, you know, if they say welder, electrician, technician, any of these vocations, unfortunately, the parents do not think it's worth their means to support. So they take the trouble to send their son or daughter to city to graduate. With the result, you get poor graduates and bad technicians also. So what I thought was just the way central government took initiatives for, say, family planning and any such governmental initiatives, is there a need to get the mind shift to get respect for vocational training? Because we need to talk of skilling the unskillable, marginally skilled, semi-skilled and the fully skilled people. We need to have a national initiative, sir.
I absolutely agree. Dignity of labor is what missing in our society. And therefore, we have to change the ethos of the society, the way it works, the way it thinks. But what I said just few minutes ago, to give equivalence of 10th or 12th is not just an equivalence for the sake of equivalence, it is recognition of dignity of labor. And more importantly, every work is important. If somebody is doing sweeping, so he's not bad, he's not doing some menial work, he is doing very important work. We have to inculcate human values through education. It's a continuous learning process. There is dignity of labor. There is truth. There is non-violence. There is respect for each other. There is respect for others' views, right to dissent. All these are democratic and human values.
Did we go a little bit wrong on the right to dissent recently?
No.
Were those controversies avoidable?
No. See, controversies are always avoidable because I think, see, there are different opinions. There are different things happening. I hope that dialogue is a way out. And I am a firm believer in dialogue process. I myself being the student leader in 70s in JP movement, I went to jail fighting for democracy, fighting for press freedom. And we were in our 20, I was working in the lower middle class, working in a nationalized bank, was a good job that time. But we left and now 35 years. See, politics is many times underrated, is a misunderstood, it's not that easy.
I'm Ruhi Tiwari, Associate Editor with The Print. You were talking about how you appreciate various languages, the importance of learning various languages. One of the controversial decisions of your predecessor was to scrap German as the third language in Kendriya Vidyalayas, in keeping in line with the three-language formula. Are you planning to reverse that, or are you planning to address it in some way?
I'll go to the table and see what are the options available, and then I'll tell you, because I want, there has to be choice, a basket. People should learn various languages, and they should learn. If somebody wants to learn fourth language, why you should stop? You should not.
So you will not stop a language which is being taught?
I've never. Language is the expression. And as I was telling, humanities, now nobody wants to, no best talented students are going to humanities. How we will do it? I have asked all IITs, IIMs and every to have some humanity courses. Because otherwise, nation doesn't get progress without humanities.
Dr. Shetty?
Yes, sir, so the economy of 21st century will be driven by health sector.
Yeah.
It is going to be the largest employer. I'll give one example, sir. If you go through US Bureau of Labor Statistics, out of the 20 fastest growing occupations in US, 16 are in healthcare. And they're not doctors and nurses. They're paramedics, dental hygienists, physician assistants. Unfortunately, none of the 16 training program exist in our country.
But you give us and we will start it. Because that's how, see, we want to not promote only lifelong learning through MOOCs courses, but we want to have as many as courses.
Sir, my name is Prithvidatta Chandrashwari. I teach history in a state university. And I want to return to Dr. Devi Shetty's previous question about state universities and the quality of education one receives there. From a teacher's perspective, one of the problems that I've noticed is the complete lack of any democratic ethos within the university in terms of a teacher's ability to determine curriculum matters, evaluation matters, or pedagogical methods. So the teacher is not in charge of the classroom. 99% of the university and college teachers don't control their classroom. Classrooms are controlled, or the way instruction happens or evaluation happens is decided by Board of Studies or by Board of Examination. How do we provide autonomy to teachers?
In an affiliating university, that's a problem, because I have seen university politics through and through. So That time we had Pune University had 140 colleges. Now there are 800 colleges. So many representatives, the whole election mechanism is more complex than our parliament election. And therefore, in many places, we used to say that there is one de jure vice chancellor, a de jure system, and there is one de facto system existing. And that should not happen. And therefore, I entirely believe we must find out a way where teachers have a major say in curriculum reforms, and that actually happens. But I have some good ideas. Today is our beginning of dialogue. So I need not reveal everything today. I'll keep something because he'll then call me again.
Vikram Sampath, Vikram the teacher.
Yeah. Good evening, sir. I'm Vikram Sampath, author, historian, and director of Symbiosis in Bangalore. My discipline, history, is often the new battlefield. And while I agree,
and he's a warrior.
Yes.
in some ways.
War wounded.
So while I agree that there is a dominant ideological hold over the study of Indian history in this country, the answer to that is sadly not a Dinanath Batra or a Sudarshan Rao for all the ICHR and other organizations that you have. So when will there be time for a truly, an institute with true academic rigor, integrity, scholarship of Indian civilizational studies, Indology and Indic studies, and also comparative religious studies, which I think it's very sad that we in India do not have centers of excellence for study of our own civilization.
I think he wants to know when will we have Neil Ferguson's of Indian history.
People of the right. Wendy Doningers of India who will critique our own religions and our own history.
I don't criticize all parties, never, because every party does something good. So even earlier regime had brought out a +2 stage, a course on Indian traditional knowledge and systems.
Indian
traditional knowledge.
Traditional knowledge and systems.
And Kapil was the minister. Kapil Sibalji was the minister. So that course is beautifully drafted. I'll just send you. And I want to popularize that because, see, we must learn. All nations learn there. So there has to be a choice to the students. And it's a very good work done. 2 big volumes, good.
His point is that so far the study of history, for example, is dominated by people of the left ideology. So right ideology doesn't have to be nutty right ideology. It has to be intelligent right ideology, right history. So how do you produce scholarship, genuine scholarship of the right?
See, genuine scholarship has no alternative, like LIC. And therefore, genuine scholarship will be regarded. I don't see people through color. I don't see people through prism of ideology or something. Good are good and they will be promoted. And because that's how society progresses. But I'll not have also that view where एक व्यू का कुछ आएगा ही नहीं, ऐसा नहीं होगा भाई, दोनों व्यूज है, डेमोक्रेसी है, लोग सीखेंगे, लोग चॉइस करते हैं.
Mahantesh.
Good evening, sir. First of all, let me thank Shekhar sir for giving me a chance to be here, and profusely thank Prakash ji sir for coming to our beautiful city. Being myself visually challenged from almost my birth, I have one question for you, sir.
He runs the Cricket Association for Blind.
Yes, sir. So I represent, I'm the president of Cricket Association for the Blind in India. Dear friends, India has won 2 World Cups for the country and also recently Asia Championship. And all the 3 finals we defeated whom? Any guess?
Pakistan.
Yes, you got it right. So I personally believe persons with disability are a potential workforce, sir. So if they are properly educated and skilled, they can be a contributing members and they should become taxpayers of the country. So one of the report I have read, around 35 million children with disability are out of the schools, one of the SSA report. So looking from education and skilling, you have already spoken a lot about. So what is your plans for children with disability and young adults with disability who could become a contributing force and contribute significantly in the growth path of the country, sir?
Fortunately, Narendra Modi is very passionate on this aspect. And therefore, he coined a new word, Divyang, and very important. because that is also giving respect. Otherwise, हम पहले अपाहिज कहते थे. We used to say this handicapped, everything. But God, if you believe, if somebody doesn't believe the work of nature, if it deprives of some facility from that person, he gives more to him. So, and it can be nurtured, and we have duty to nurture it. And therefore, we have already issued circular to all universities to make Sugamya Bharat Abhiyan, where the movement and all things become a facility.
My name is Nikita, and I'm coming from a not-for-profit in Bangalore called Quest Alliance. My question is that the way our education system is currently designed, it does not give our learners enough exposure early on about to think about careers, and hence a lot of them end up with wrong choices of subjects, wrong choices of courses later on, and hence even wrong jobs. And as we work with more and more schools, colleges, ITIs, polytechnics, we realize that students have no clarity as to why they've enrolled in a certain course. So that seems to be a really critical problem that we see across all education institutions.
Many states are starting career guidance in a very nice way. And that, because that guidance is essential. What you want to be. So Maharashtra has started with aptitude test, and in a good way. And so one girl student, when in aptitude states, her all aptitude was that she will be artist, good painter she can become. So her parents were angry. ये बहुत गलत टेस्ट है. पेंटर होके क्या जिएगी कैसे? How she will live? This is bad. So बोले और इसको कुछ आता भी नहीं. तो बाद में वो लड़की को पूछा तो लड़की ने कहा उसको आता ही है. उसने इतने नोटबुक्स उसके भरे हुए थे, बहुत ब्यूटीफुल पेंटिंग्स थे, लेकिन घर वालों के डर से वो बता ही नहीं रही थी घर वालों को. So there are many things. We as a society can really, and therefore I want you also to take charge of one school. Don't go and start teaching, because that's a pedagogy, is a separate skill. But at least have dialogue with students, at least have dialogue with teachers, create confidence, give some more inputs. The school will change. We need school people participation.
Raghu?
Good evening, sir. Welcome to Bangalore. I'm Raghu Karnad. I'm a contributing editor at thewire.in.
Yeah.
I know that in your college days, you were a member of the ABVP. So I wanted to ask what your relationship is with the ABVP now, and whether you feel, whether you're still in touch, whether you're in communication with ABVP leaders, as you said, about the importance of the right to dissent.
I keep relationship with all leaders, not only ABVP.
You must have a personal special...
No, Sitaram Yechury said, oh, I Fukto, they want to see you. मैंने कहा, I have seen my request, who want to see me. There is no request from them. But if they want to come, let you send it at 6 p.m. I sat with them for 1 hour. Because in jail, I Fukto, one of the founder members with us. So I deal with everybody. It's India.
So do you feel that you have
but
a
I am
role
RSS
to play in
I am RSS
diffusing these
Swayamsevak, I am
political...
BJP worker, I was ABVP worker, and nobody shy with this. Is not terrorist organizations, these are good organizations. I am firm believer that there is a place for dissent, but there is always आपका national interest है, आपका वो कोई one version नहीं होता है, but ये सच है कि you must constitution तो फिर आप मुझे प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी के पास ही लाते हो. He said that is my only holy book, constitution. At least we must agree on that. Let's go ahead.
Chandru and then.
Yes, I'm Vijay Chandru. I'm a professor from Indian Institute of Science turned entrepreneur. So I'm interested.
He's a war wounded too.
But I can accept you as adjunct professor. Yes.
Thank you. The question is, we have done very well in research, and these days our trend in publications and advanced research has been extraordinary. But that has not translated into innovation which has really had commercial impact. And my question is, what what are the plans for MHRD to help with this translation?
See, I'm not technocrat, but innovation makes country prosperous. That's my firm opinion, belief. And innovation is the product of a scientific and well-researched research. Research can't be bureaucratic. It's the power of idea.
Sir,
a 25-year lad can lead you, and you have to be ready for that.
My name is Rohini Nilekani. I'm here.
Oh, yes.
I've spent 17 years working in primary education.
Very
and
good.
I was very happy. And you know, all of us, of course, governments have been doing a lot. Some of us in civil society have been working so hard. And it's very frustrating that we have not been able to dial up the learning achievements in the primary and secondary sector. My question to you is, I heard you mention the word accountability. Can you place some early thoughts you have on how are we going to fix accountability?
It's not only accountability of all stakeholders of education, be it organization, be it teachers, even remotely parents, society. Society support we need. We need to increase societal participation, and that's where I want you all on board, because this is our joint mission. Without that, we can't make a progress.
But you think you will bring accountability in the system?
Yes. We have to. Otherwise, it can't be a one-way thing that government only has to give money and nobody is accountable. You can't make it that way.
Rajesh?
I'm Vidya Natapalli from Microsoft Research.
Oh, yes.
I wanted to ask a question related to research, but Vijay Chandra covered it. So I'm going to ask some fundamental question on how do we inculcate the culture of science, technology, and research at an early age? Because I was talking to a Turing Award winner, which is equivalent to Nobel Prize, Adi Shamir, who's very well known. And he was saying when he was in high school, he spent a lot of time at science museums. And that helped him look at research more seriously. And we know that we have double-digit museums across the country, but that's mostly visited by tourists. You know, bus loads are taken there and they just spend little time and come back. How do we increase that? But because mostly parents are taking their kids to malls or restaurants in the evenings to spend time because there's no other place to go.
That is why I said parent education is more important. हमारे यहाँ मेरे छोटे बच्चे जब थे तो हमारे यहाँ एक पेरेंट वर्कशॉप था तो आई वेंट मी एंड माय वाइफ एंड डॉक्टर एक बड़े अच्छे थे आप जैसे तो उन्होंने भाषण शुरू किया बोले यू वांट योर सन्स एंड डॉटर्स टू रेज इन टाइम एंड स्टडी प्रॉपरली एवरीबडी सेड यस you want your students to be on ground and play good sports, everybody said yes. Then you want to be your students to be wards to be disciplined, everybody said yes. Then he said very simple, you also start doing that. Then your children will be good. So parent education is also important. But as far as your science, I am not neither scientist nor expert, but inquisitiveness, I think that is the starting point of any new innovation and research. If you kill inquisitiveness, you are killing the very innovative potential of a student. You should encourage inquisitiveness.
Hi, my name is Tara Sapru, I'm a filmmaker. Welcome to Bangalore.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering, do you think it's necessary for the government to begin to promote sexual education in schools?
Yeah, there was committee also. I will now take review of what has committee, parliamentary committee, there was large debate in the country. But मैं तो मानता हूँ कि सब प्रकार की जीवन की जो शिक्षा है वो मिलनी चाहिए. We must teach everything what life expects from us. And therefore, there has to be all kinds of education. The issue is how to do it, when to do it, how much to do it. So, experts have to decide it.
Hi sir, I'm Sanya. I work as a reporter with The Print. A lot of recent studies tell us that although there are a lot of young girls who are getting educated, that is not necessarily translating in their greater participation in the formal workforce. Is there something wrong that is in the education system itself, and can we do something to fix that?
See, participation in workforce is one part of the story. Their participation becomes more enriched with education in their family affairs. You teach a boy student, you teach one person. you teach a girl student, you teach a whole
But you
family.
still want more women in the workforce.
That depends upon the financial status, the family situations, the opportunities available at local places. Many things are there. But I think now women are working in all fields.
Prakashji, after all these Bangalore questions, serious, constructive Bangalore questions, let me ask you a Delhi question.
Yes.
But not the kind of Delhi question you expect. Today, if you went to JNU to speak, what advice will you give to JNU faculty and students? And also, what will you tell Rohit Vemula's mother today?
No, I'm going everywhere. Those who invite me, I go.
But if you go, what will you say to them? And what will
No,
you say
I'm
to...
saying that here is opportunity for everybody. Here is place for everybody. Here is the respect for all opinions. As I said, yes, Constitution is our holy book. And within that, Constitution has given all freedom. We have to respect each other's views, though we may not agree with each other on certain views. But that's how freedom is all about. That's how democracy is all about.
And so the government is not at war with any university?
We are not war with anybody. As I said, education is not a political agenda. Education is a national agenda, and we want to take it further. Thank you.
And you want diversity of thought in campus.
Absolutely.
And Rohit Vemula's mother, because this commission report has been floating for the last couple of days. I know that you haven't accepted it as yet.
No, but two things happen. I think any suicide on campus is unfortunate, and it should not. My job as an HRD minister is to ensure that we create an atmosphere where there are no, and so more induction, powerful induction courses, more counseling, more effective redressal driven system, more mentoring, more local guardianship systems, societal support. If we build a net of all this together, I hope that we'll not have suicides. That's the way forward, and that's what we can say.
And what is the other part? You said there are two issues.
What are
No, you said there are two issues. One is suicide.
It's suicide only.
Suicide.
You asked me that only.
So this commission report, which basically looks at the person's caste status, you think that caste status is relevant in this case or not?
See, I think retired justice has done a deliberate, very detailed deliberations based. He has conducted an inquiry, proper inquiry. It's a commission of inquiry. So let the things come. Then it's for the agencies to look into it.
But you haven't accepted that report as yet.
No, it will come to me next week.
It will come to you. Yes, it's come in the papers before that.
Yeah.
As always.
That is, so therefore I said you give me your report.
Well, I think we have to let you go and catch your flight. Thank you very much. And I have to say one thing, that you have a long agenda ahead of you. But one thing you've done very well is to make HRD ministry non-controversial. And I think I've seen this for the first time in about 25 years. So congratulations for that. It doesn't make great copy for us, but congratulations. Dr. Shetty, thank you very much. You were a great partner. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Shekhar. Thank you, Shetty.